Hey, welcome back to Sales Made Easy, where my job is to try to make your life a little easier. And last month we talked about pipeline and what have you, and also wanted to follow up with what is sales purgatory. But before we talk about that, I had a couple events coming up, some big events coming up. So one, we're having a 2-day sales bootcamp this month and in a couple months live here in Texas. The other thing is I'm doing a 1-day from 10 to 3 boot camp via Zoom. For those of you interested, please just email me, Tom at Sales Made Easy. Click link, click subscribe, and we'll get you that information. And I'm doing a little webinar, how to bust the tariffs. So if you're hearing tariff bust, tariffs are causing us a problem and what have you, we're going to deal with that. So what is sales purgatory? To me, sales purgatory is when you got such a full funnel that you don't know where to start. Too often we have this feeling when I say you got to make sure your funnel's full is that we fill it up with a bunch of suspects and keep those suspects in our funnel. That's purgatory because you don't know which way to turn, and no matter what you do, you ain't going up and you ain't going down. You're just stuck because you got all this stuff in your funnel. So I wanted you to think about in your world, how many sales do you typically get in your now if you're a very transactional and a quick sale, you get a lot of stuff in your funnel. But perhaps if you're selling a software subscription or what have you, or even software, which is maybe $500,000 or something like that, you're probably closing maybe a deal a quarter, a deal a month. Well, if you have 50 things in your pipeline, you'll have no idea where to go. But if you're closing a deal a month, maybe you should have 3 or 4 things in the top of your funnel, and maybe 2 or 3 things in the middle of your funnel, and maybe 2 or 1 things at the bottom of your funnel, as opposed to 50, because that way you think you got a lot going on. But believe me, if you're closing a deal, a big deal, once a quarter, once a month, and you've got 20 things you're working on, you're probably not focused on the one deal that can close, and that's a problem. So think about it. The people you put in your funnel, what are you doing to trim them out of your funnel? What are you doing to disqualify them out of your funnel? Do we have in our head that, oh my goodness, I don't want to hear a no, or I don't want to hear a negative. So we don't ask those tough questions. And that tough question might be, hey, let me ask you a question. Why are you going to change from us to your current supplier to someone like us? Why are you looking outside the box that you're in already? And you're scared to ask that question because they might say, well, we're really not. We're just kind of, seeing what's going on. We have fear of that question because that means no, and they have to leave my funnel. But in reality, it doesn't necessarily mean no. It means I got to ask more questions. I got to qualify harder because right now they don't see me as a source twice as good as what they're currently doing. So why would they change? So I really want you to start thinking about your funnel. It can be sales purgatory if you've got a whole bunch of people in there and you have no idea what's moving, what's not moving. Then you're just kind of stuck. You're not in heaven, you're not in hell, you're just kind of stuck. Your boss says, oh, you got all this work. But in reality, you're going to bed at night going, oh, I hope something moves. So stay out of sales purgatory. I want you to really start trimming the fat. Look at your funnel, right? And start looking at it and saying, okay, who's in my upper funnel I need to either move down or move out? And what questions can I ask these people to either move them down or move them out? But if they just stay in the top of my funnel, that's not good. That's purgatory. So if there are sales possibilities stagnated in your funnel, you're in purgatory. So start figuring out what great questions I'm going to ask to move people down or out. But if they just stay there, it's just costing you money. So that's it. Stay out of sales purgatory. Make sure your funnel has people moving. Oh, by the way, that doesn't mean if they're out of your funnel, you forget about them. They're in my marketing funnel. These are people in my territory I want to do business with, so I'm going to market to them. I'll pop in once in a while. I'll send them some stuff saying, hey, how are you? But I'm not trying to push them down the funnel. All right, stay out of sales purgatory. Hey, if you want to come to the sales bootcamp, please email us, Tom at salesmadeeasy.com. Hit subscribe, hit like. We'll get you the information. See you next time.